to INTREL 495 Capstone. My name is Marilyn Preston, and I am your professor for this semester. I've taught Capstone several times, and so I'm excited to get back to it. It's been a couple years since I've been doing it. And a couple important things to know about me before I jump into it. I've been with GVSU since 2013. I'm an associate professor in the IRIS department. My scholarship is usually around gender and sexual education and identity. And then I have a PhD in human development and family studies, a master's in human services administration, nonprofit management certificate, a women and gender studies certificate, and a methods certificate. So I have a little bit of everything. And maybe most useful to the capstone class is that my undergraduate degree was very similar to liberal studies or integrative studies capstone, which is to say that I self-designed it and really created my own project for my thesis, created a very interdisciplinary thesis. So I remember what that was like. I remember how rewarding it was and how hard it was and also how lonely it could be. So when I teach capstone, and especially right now with COVID, I try to create a balance of individualized support and collective conversations so that we can really use our time wisely. So with this video, I'm just going to introduce you to the main assignments and goals and my expectations for the course. I fully expect you will read the syllabus on your own time. It has a lot more detail. It has calendars and information on resources and whatnot. So this is not to substitute for you looking over the syllabus closely. This is just a brief introduction to the course. So, like I mentioned, we're going to just talk briefly about our expectations, our major assignments, and my goals for you. In terms of expectations and assignments, I expect there will be weekly participation in all the aspects of the course. So that involves a couple of different things. We have some course materials, readings, and short videos that we will be watching, all of us, and commenting on. And we're going to be using a technology called Flipgrid for that discussion to happen, and I'll go deeper into that in a minute. There are also going to be two times that peer reviews are happening on your writing in class, and so participation in the peer review process is also an important part, and you'll be able to find your peer review partner or group by going to our Blackboard and looking at the syllabus information and the course material information, and then also there'll be a peer review partners tab on the left-hand menu side. So you'll just click that, you'll be able to email or have a discussion board or whatnot with your peer review group or your partners. And then, so those participations are sort of expected and required. And Flipgrid is a discussion forum that we're only going to be doing 8 of those discussions throughout the semester, so it's not every week. It's just about every other week right now. And then just staying involved with the class. That's the weekly participation. And then finally, the other expectation is to complete all of our assignments. So for this class, that's a thesis proposal, a thesis project, and there's another video that explains that in more detail. Your integrative statement that you started in LIB or INT 310 or 311, we're going to just do a very quick revision and turn in a final version of that, and then the scholarly contextualization paper or the reflective paper. And that paper for some of you might be a standalone paper, for others you might write it and then embed it in your thesis project, but that is the paper that is asking you to think about your specific project and your specific identity and how those two things have come together. So in terms of my goals for students in this class, the first is that, obviously, I want you to create or develop a culminating thesis project that relates to your area of focus, which you should have already declared and decided on, and is interdisciplinary, so it's involving multiple fields of thought or ideologies or disciplines in conversation with each other. It's self-reflexive, that's that scholarly contextualization paper, so it involves sort of an element of you exploring yourself through metacognition, what it means to have you doing the work, how your identity shapes your relationship to the work. And then finally, I expect it to be robust, which is academically rigorous. You're going to be using theorists and data from other researchers in order to support your argument or support your work. So that's what your thesis is going to look like. And again, there's another video that explains the thesis in more detail that you're going to need to watch. And then the second goal I have for you is to consider your education and the IRIS program, formerly the Liberal Studies program, or the REL program, and think about your experiences in interdisciplinary education, in work or life, and how these things have come together to create who you are now and who you hope to be in the future. So I thought it would be helpful to put up a weekly schedule that just gives you a little bit of information about when things are due. And because this semester is kind of a weird one and this is kind of a big deal class, I wanted to try to keep it as simple as possible. So the 2 times we have peer reviews, you're going to need to send your paper to your peer reviewer by Monday at midnight. And then you're going to need to review your peer's paper and return it to them by Saturdays at midnight. And I, of course, will remind you when that time comes up. And you're going to be either using email to exchange it or you can do it through Blackboard. But you're going to have a worksheet, which you can find on our Blackboard under assignments, that you're going to fill out in response to their paper to use for your peer review. And you're going to upload a copy of that worksheet into Blackboard that Saturday at midnight. It counts as part of your grade as well. So that's just the 2 times we have peer reviews. The rest of the time, we're going to have those 8 weeks of Flipgrid responses. So I'm going to be posting prompts on Flipgrid, and by Tuesdays at midnight, you're going to reply to my initial prompt. And those prompts will be about the course material or about your projects or about your experiences at GVSU. So they're relatively informal. They're more of a conversation than an academic dialogue. But you'll respond to my prompts by Tuesdays at midnight, and then you have until Saturday at midnight to go back in, watch your peers' responses, and choose 2 to hit reply to and reply in short video form to them as well. Let me show you a little bit about what that looks like. So just for those of you who don't know, Flipgrid is an online discussion forum that uses video and audio, or just audio, rather than a textual typing-based forum. I find it is better for people who are sort of overwhelmed by the formality of the rest of their education, or they just want a chance to get to know each other face to face when you can't do it because you're stuck at home. So we're using this Flipgrid. There are going to be 8 due throughout the semester, and you can look for the dates in the syllabus. They're listed both throughout the calendar for the course, but then below the course calendar, there's like specifically Flipgrid dates that are there. You're going to need to use your GVSU email when you log in the first time and create your account. And the way that it works, and I'll show you this in a minute, is you're going to be responding to my prompt by Tuesdays at midnight, and then you're going to be replying to 2 of your students or your peers' responses by Saturday at midnight. So this is what our Flipgrid will look like, sort of, when you first come in. This is mine, so it has a little extra stuff, but you'll see the course name, and I put some Northern Light picture there because I didn't like what they had. And here under topics, there will be 8. And you can see I've put the first topic here, which is just introducing ourselves to each other. So you'll come in, log in with your GVSU email, click this topic, and it will bring you to this page. So here you will be able to play the video and watch or listen to me give the prompt. Here I'm going to have a typed out prompt so you can see it. And when you're ready, and you watch the video and you're ready with your response, you're just going to hit record a response down here, and it's the orange-red button. And you can choose to turn off your video if you want to, but sometimes people like videos because it allows them to actually sort of engage with each other in different ways, but you will not be penalized if you just choose to audio respond. So you'll hit record a response. You'll be given about 5 minutes to record an initial prompt response, and it will show up there. Then when you come back in the next time, when you click on this, there's going to be about 19 responses, and those are your peers' responses. So you'll go back, you'll watch some of them or all of them, and you'll choose a couple, and the same thing. You'll hit reply or record a response. You'll record a brief response, maybe 2 minutes, and you'll do that by Saturday nights for 2 of your peers, and that's it. So that's what Flipgrid is. Flipgrid is a silly-looking technology. I think that some of the graphics are a little bit silly, but I have found that students really like it because it allows them to engage in a way that's different than the traditional discussion board. In addition to the Flipgrid discussions, which are whole class discussions, we're going to have 4 individual meetings, each of us, one-on-one, throughout the semester. These are also in your course calendar, and you're going to sign up for these by going into your Blackboard account and going to syllabus, and underneath our syllabus, there's going to be an individual meeting sign up. You'll click that, it will bring you to a Google sort of calendar page, and you'll pick your meeting times. They're about half an hour long. And as you can see, they start in September. There's 2 in October and 1 in November. And there's actually room for another one, a 5th one, later on in the semester, should you desire it. Not required. But anyway, so each of these meetings, I'm going to be asking you to submit via Blackboard or email a couple of things different to each meeting. So you can see that first one in September, you'll bring a thesis proposal and a draft of your integrative statement. So that stuff will be turned in 24 hours before our meeting, and then we'll meet and sort of narrow down or work deeply on your individual project or individual capstone thesis. And so these meetings are required, and they are very important, especially in a semester where I don't get to sit down face to face with you in order to talk through these issues. So keep that in mind. Try to go on there. You can start signing up for those meeting times right now. That might guarantee you get an early or the slot that you want. And I did put morning, afternoon, and evening slots in all 4 of those time periods. So there are some important due dates. This again is on the course calendar in the syllabus and underneath the course calendar, specifically just important due dates. But these are the ones to note. Our first due date is the 21st of September, when you will send the integrative statement draft that you have to your peer reviewer through Blackboard. This is the same paper you wrote in 310, 311. I will talk more about it in another video, but we're just doing minimal revisions to it just to bring it up to date. So that's the 21st, and then the 26th, you will return your peers' draft to them with your comments. And then on the 3rd of October, that's when you'll be turning in the final integrative statement via Blackboard. And you'll also have a thesis proposal due that day, which is just a couple pages. We'll talk about that in another video. And then on November 7th, your final reflexive statement or scholarly contextualization paper is due on Blackboard. November 21st, you're going to send your thesis draft to your peer reviewer. And on the 28th, you're going to return it. And then on the 12th of December, you have your final capstone project or thesis due via Blackboard. So there are some resources I just want to point out briefly for you to use to work through this capstone project. I know it can feel overwhelming for some. The first are your advisors. You have 2. You have a professional advisor, that's often Jen Jamilson or someone in the Brooks College of Advising, or at Center of its Advising Center, excuse me. And then you have your faculty or academic advisor. So the professional advisor can help you with the bureaucracy of GVSU, can help you with professional development programming, which they do really well. They can help you find internships or get questions answered around job market skills. And your academic advisor, your faculty advisor, really should serve more as a mentor to you in the building of your program and in the creation of your capstone. And so use both of them. You're going to need to meet with your faculty advisor to sign off on your final study plan, which you need to turn in to graduate. Anyway, so I highly encourage you to reach out to these folks as you're working through your capstone for advice or support or assistance. Other options on campus and all remotely available are the Writing Center, the Knowledge Market, and our libraries. The Writing Center, I know, does email or Zoom writing consultations, and the Knowledge Market and the library both are doing remote consultations right now, and all 3 of these centers are super useful. Even if you think you are a fantastic writer, getting more eyes on your paper and getting a little bit more suggestions for edits or review is always a good thing, so I highly recommend the Writing Center. And the Knowledge Market and the library can be very helpful in terms of finding the research or the data or the literature that you're going to need in order to build your project. As you probably know by now, in IRIS, not all of your faculty are experts in all of your fields. You are, in fact, mostly the expert. And so being able to go to the Knowledge Market or the library and sit down with somebody who can help find that information with you is going to be very helpful. And then finally, we have individual meetings, and during those meetings, I'm hoping that I can provide for you all of the support that you need. I really hope that if you do end up with questions and they are ones that can wait till we meet, you bring them so we can work through those questions or issues you're having. If you do have general questions, however, about the class, the content, graduating process, that kind of stuff, I imagine a lot more of you have the same questions than you know, and so I created a Blackboard discussion board where anybody can post any sort of general question or concern, and any one of us can respond, including me. And that way we'll be able to sort of crowdsource our answers and knowledge. So feel free to use that Blackboard discussion for general questions. If you have specific questions to your project or your graduation, then you will need to reach out directly to me or to your faculty advisor or professional advisor. And I'll tell you if you come to me and it's not something I can answer, I'll tell you to go to your advisor or not. But I do encourage you to do that. You are about to leave GVSU with your undergraduate degree, and so especially in the IRIS department, being able to reach out and network and use the supports that are there are a skill that you're going to need. So hopefully you'll be able to do that. So that's my very brief introduction to our class. I'm really excited to get to know all of you. The Flipgrid for the first week of class is already up, so feel free to go in and put your response in early should you desire. It's just an introductory welcome to class thing. Other than that, I hope that you guys have a successful semester, and feel free to reach out to me if you need to. It is a lot of asynchronous, self-paced work with some due dates, and so making sure that you can get everything done on time is something that you're going to have to be self-managing. But I'm excited to talk to you all this semester and to see all of the cool things that you're going to produce. Capstone is a really fun class and can be very rewarding. I'll talk to you later.